Well, good afternoon, everyone. While everyone's actually filing in, I'm going to actually go ahead and take a page out of Gary's book and ask you guys a really quick question just to break the ice. And since like the holidays are coming up, I wanted to ask both of you, what's your favorite thing to do during the holidays?
I'm like,
Oh,
so I go down to Florida to see my mom. So we go to this thing called Surfing Santas. The on I guess it's on Christmas Eve. So they do a surfing Santa. So everyone dresses in a Santa suit and they get on a surfboard and they surf in and like you can watch all of them. It's actually really cool. So I would say that's my new favorite thing.
That's so funny. These wear like
Yeah.
big suits.
Yeah, they
Oh
do the
my
whole
gosh.
thing, like the beard and everything. They get dressed up and then they're in the water and you figure it's not that warm because it's December. But yeah, they do the whole thing. It's actually pretty cool. What about you, Chris?
Gosh.
we live on a little man-made lake and but it's not allowed to have like real boats. It's only allowed to have electric boats that can, and the speed limit's like 7 miles per hour. So there's a lot of pontoon boats and stuff. And so at Christmas time, the lake encourages people to decorate their boats. And there's this like weird
Oh,
impromptu sort of like parade where people just drive around the lake and drink wine on their boats. And everyone's boats are decorated with all the lights and blow up like Santas. And it's really
that
fun.
sounds so fun.
It is fun. It's
That
dumb
sounds
and
pretty to look
fun.
at.
Yeah, and like it's fun if you do it, but it's also fun if you don't do it and you're just
Just
watching the
watching. Yeah.
boat parade.
That
So
sounds
yeah.
great. Well, we don't have a lot of Thanksgiving here. We really don't. 'Cause, I'm from the Philippines and we don't really do that. We just go into Christmas automatically from September.
Right.
Right.
September is Christmas time.
I
September
mean, to be
until
fair, we
February.
do too here.
Yeah.
Like they don't pause.
Yeah,
No
November
Thanksgiving. No.
1st was an immediate switch after
Yeah.
Halloween. So,
Yeah, but that's November. We start in September.
do you guys do
Yeah.
You're like
Halloween?
it's coming. It's time.
Yeah, but it's funny because Halloween with Santa Claus in the background is kind of funny to look at, but we
That is funny.
that's what we do. Yeah, okay. So moving on. Good afternoon, everyone. Now that everybody's here, thanks for joining us for today's session of QB Talks, App Neighborhood Watch. My name is Cheska Cordero, new face, absolutely new face, and I'm from Insightful Accountant, and I will be your host for today. So for today's session, Kelly Gonzalez and Kristen Nice Serraldo will be taking you on a spin around the upcoming QuickBooks Connect conference vendor floor. Their goal for today is actually to get you the information you need to prioritize your visits, your chats, and maybe even a live demo or two. We'll have them introduce themselves in a bit after I cover a few of the housekeeping items, which are CPE is actually offered for today. So you have to be in here for at least 50 minutes. And now there's going to be also, well, you have to answer at least three of the poll questions, which we will be rolling out during the webinar. And you have to make sure to answer the poll asking if you would like to receive the CPE certificate. If you have any questions, please enter them in the Q&A panel and you got to be specific. You can't just say, hey, Kelly, what did you mean by you want to see Santa on the surfboard? You got to ask them the specific question, mainly because they might not get to your question right after you put it in there. And we will be actually sending you a link to the recording, and it's also going to be up on our YouTube page within about 24 hours. And I'll also be putting that link to our YouTube channel into the chat. And that's all for me. With that, Kelly and Kristen, welcome and thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks. Um, so usually we start with just introducing ourselves. So Kristen, if you want to bring up the slides, but I can always
Oh yeah.
talk about myself a little bit. So I am Kelly Gonzalez. We are the hosts of App Neighborhood Watch. But this is a little bit of a different episode as we will be focusing specifically on QuickBooks Connect. So I am based in New York, as I mentioned earlier. I have an accounting firm called Totally Booked. We've been in business for about 8 years now. I have some other companies that I have co-founded that are listed here as well. One of them being Leading Lady Machine Works that I work with Kristen on. I'm part of the Intuit Trainer Narrator Network. I am a speaker in space, so I will actually be speaking at QuickBooks Connect, which is very exciting. And yeah, I guess, Kristen, please introduce yourself.
Hey, my name is Kristen Niceraldo. I co-founder of Leading Lady Machine Works. I also run a boutique firm that focuses on restaurant and bar advisory and bookkeeping called the Friday Guide. And I'm totally sold out for that niche. And I just like to dabble. I'm a dabbler. You can reach me at Hey Friday Guide, and yeah, I just have my hands in a bunch of stuff. I'm not speaking at QuickBooks Connect, but I am really looking forward to going to Kelly's session to see her
Thank you.
speak live, because I've never gotten to do that, even though she spoke several times. So I get to
We
see
trade
that
off.
this time. Yeah.
We trade off.
It's gonna be good. I'm kind of looking forward to going to last year I didn't really get to go to any sessions. So this year
Aw.
I'm actually
Well,
looking
that
forward
usually
to going
happens,
to
to be fair.
sessions.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
times that happens, especially if you're speaking, which you were. So you kind of run around a lot and you don't get to make it to as many sessions as you would like.
Yeah. And
Totally
we
fair.
also had like the fairy godmother thing going on, which gave me
Yeah.
Disney flashbacks. Like you have to watch people's back when they're like vulnerable in those suits. Anyway,
True.
so welcome everyone. This is going to be Murph definitely sold this as like, we know everything about, we do not know everything about QuickBooks Connect. However, we do know some people that know some things about QuickBooks Connect and what's going on, what kind of parties there will be, etc. So we'll give you that information as we go along, but we really wanted to focus on the apps. And I know, because not only because this is App Neighborhood Watch, obviously, but also because I know for me, there have been several times where I'm like, oh shoot, I only have an hour and a half to go and talk to whoever I want to talk to, and I don't even know who I want to talk to.
It's hard to fit it all in.
It really is. And I think, although if you're going to QuickBooks Connect and you have not downloaded the QuickBooks Connect app,
Oh,
that is
absolutely.
definitely worth it. And we'll get into that for a second. But even with that great tool, it can be hard to prioritize your time and really know that you want to prioritize your time until it's like kind of too late.
Yes, absolutely.
And pro tip, don't leave it after the last session on Wednesday, because a lot of times the vendors are already packed up.
Yes. Yes,
Which
we
I
learned
found
that
out the
last
hard
year.
way.
Um,
Found that out the hard way a couple of times. Didn't take
yes,
the
I will
first
say
time.
this year, if you look at the agenda, they did a good job about leaving plenty of time for the vendor floor. And they're doing events on the vendor floor so that we will be amongst amongst the vendors as well as our peers. So I think that while you're, I would say a tip, a pro tip, whatever, however you want to take it, my suggestion is to force yourself if you must, right? But push yourself to interact with vendors, interact with people you don't know. That's always going to be probably the number one when you come on these webinars. But also consider you're in a position of advantage, right? So you have a bunch of people that want to sell their product to you. You are absolutely entitled to go up and ask them questions or ask them, I've asked, how would your product benefit my practice? And sometimes when I describe my practice, it doesn't fit, and they're okay with that, and I'm okay with that. But there was no harm in going up and asking. There's no harm in, finding out more. If you're interested in something, absolutely. Just kind of put yourself out there a little bit.
Yeah, and I would add to that, I think that's a great thing, like highlighting, you are in the driver's seat. They actually want to talk to you. That's why they're there. Don't be afraid to go up to vendors that you already use. If there is something, particularly if there's some like key piece of feedback that you've been wanting to get to the right person, sometimes the right person will literally be standing at that booth. Now, sometimes it'll just be a salesperson, but sometimes it will be, I feel like vendors have their ears out more at these conferences. And so if you can go up and say, hey, I really love your app, but one of the sticking points for me is X, and not get too much into the weeds. They might not know all the technical stuff, but just being able to be like, yeah, I really wish you guys had X kind of reporting because, and this is why I need it. And this is why I need it, and other people probably need it too. You know, that kind of feedback. Don't be afraid to like go up to a vendors that you're already using. It can be really, really enlightening. You may
Absolutely.
even find out that it's already in development, or they may put you in a beta, or they may say, oh my gosh, can we connect you with our development people? We need to know more about this.
Yeah.
So
Oftentimes too, a lot of people ask like, how do we wind up giving feedback on apps or products and stuff like that? And a lot of that starts, I would say maybe all of that starts at conferences, just going
mhm,
up and kind of, I mean, and being nice about it too, because I know some
yeah,
people go and kind of attack the vendors, but being nice about it, going up and, asking questions, but also offering feedback, offering opinions, saying, sometimes it's a matter of why something didn't work or how, you would have liked to have seen it, work for you. And that
mhm,
feedback can help shape that product. So it might not be just helping, it's helping other accountants as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
So
And just even like like, yes, not being mean, recognizing the people you're talking to aren't the people that probably founded the app or developed it. But
yes, true.
also being willing to kind of, you know, here's the other thing. Don't be afraid to go up to a vendor you are new to or don't know about and just asking straight out, like, hey, do you do X before you get into all the spiel? Do you do X? Because I'm looking for X and I don't want to waste
Right.
your time, particularly if they're busy. And actually, we can get into that right now. That kind of leads into what I was thinking might be interesting to revisit. We've talked about this before on this show. I know, Kelly, you've presented on this topic before too. But can you just talk about like how a little bit about how
So
the
yes,
steps
so
of
this
like
process for
selecting tools?
yes, so when it comes to selecting tools, right, we're specifically talking about shopping for apps. The biggest part of it, I think, is that we're not always honest with ourselves, or sometimes we're asking maybe even more than what we need, right? So we have to start the process by saying, okay, how do you really work, right? So I know that I tend to work a specific set of hours on a certain set of days, whatever the case is, right? But also that I am better at keeping in touch on something like Slack or text, or like I use Lisio because I hate going into my email, right? Like just one example. So admitting how you work and then finding the tools that fit how you work and what you do make more sense than trying to fit yourself into the box of, oh, everyone really likes this app, it's so cool, I should get on board with it. So admitting, what works for you, how you work, what you need for yourself, so to speak, start there. And then, know what you need, right? So when we move into knowing what you need, we're talking about not just us, but typically our clients, what they need. Are they using, anything specialized for their niche? Is there anything that we use that's specialized for their niche? um, what are the things that are non-negotiable, I guess would be the best way to say it, right? So what are
Deal
your deal breakers?
breakers.
Yes, what are your deal breakers? So for me, it's QuickBooks Online, right? I am happy to have a chat with people, but one of the first things I say out the gate is, what version of QuickBooks are you using? And then I'm happy to make a referral if it is not a fit for what I'm doing. So getting to know, basically getting to know yourself a little bit better and recognizing that not every app is going to fit, not, and just because it's cool or it's the app of the moment or whatever the case is, identifying what works for you, what you need, and really being honest about that instead of trying to force yourself into a box is by far the most successful way to do this.
And that might also, it might just, your deal breaker might not only be certain apps, like sort of the hub of your spoked wheel. It might also be a certain functionality. Like for me, reporting to restaurants, I've learned the hard way to ask specific questions about what reporting can happen from an app.
Yeah.
How I can use the data. And so it might be a particular functionality or a particular result or a particular connection that you're looking for that might be your quote unquote deal breaker. You might have the larger deal breakers of your ecosystem, right? But then also when you're shopping for a particular solution, you might have like two or three things in mind that that solution needs to be able to accomplish. And you might know how it needs to do it, or you might just know this is the end result I need. So having those things in mind is going to allow you to sort of, for lack of a better way to put it, mow through a lot of the people who aren't going to be a good fit for you. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't, hear their little spiel to some extent. You never know who you might encounter who's looking for something. You'd be like, hey, I talked to them. They're not for me, but you should go talk to them. That's another thing. I don't feel like any information is ever really wasted. It's going to come up again.
Right.
But if you only have an hour and a half or an hour or 20 minutes or however long you have in your QuickBooks Connect journey, you want to spend it wisely if you're actually looking to make a connection. Also, don't feel like you have to make a determination right then. This is strictly being able to ask all those funky questions that you don't want to sit through a whole demo to be able to ask, right? This is your chance to just get to the heart of the matter. So, given that, let's get to the QuickBooks Connect app. They have this thing where like you can press on, I'm like pointing as if you can see me. You could press any of those little buttons in the app and it will pop up with a little like information about that particular thing, that particular app or vendor, as well as their booth number. Now, the description of the vendors is very, very sort of limited. I'm assuming they gave them a certain number of characters that they could use, but it's a real good drive-by. This is what these apps and vendors have chosen to say about themselves. And on some level, that's going to tell you something about what they feel like their main value prop is.
So I have to say, I just opened it because I wanted to see what happens when you first open it. So when you go to, if you have the app, right? So you go to the event map, it's going to be in your menu, but then you have to do another drop down and click conference map. So the event map brings up pretty much the whole hotel. The conference map is going to give you the 3 levels of the actual conference. So where the breakout sessions are, the vendor floor, and then I think it's the like reception and registration. So basically everything.
And they have all the session rooms there too. Like they have everything on this map.
Yes.
Like everything.
Everything. There's so much. And it's like 3D. It's really cool. So sorry, go ahead.
Yes. No, yeah. I was trying to find a better picture where you could see all the vendors and because of the 3D-ness, it was like, okay, I just gotta go with the screenshot. Like it took me like 15 minutes to be like trying to make it work. But it's really cool because you can sort of turn it around. This is something I enjoy that I actually just realized. I am a person who can read a map. However, it has to be facing the way I'm facing.
Oh, I do the same thing. I'll like turn my phone around.
Yes,
like, okay, this is to my right.
Your phone like that, it sometimes just orients for you back to where you were. So you end up spinning in circles on a conference floor. Not so with this app. You can turn the actual map with your fingers. So you can sort of say, well, I can find the QuickBooks, the big QuickBooks booth.
Right.
So
look for something that is central, essentially.
Right. So before we get into like the overview of the floor, I'm gonna hit it back to Insightful Accountant to do a polling question.
Okay.
Are you headed to QBC this year? By the way, if you aren't, this is another, please don't think that this whole webinar is just for QBC people. Here's the thing. I think that apps are particularly poised who are going to this conference to hear from new people or existing people. They have their funnel set up. They are looking to be contacted. They are ready. And oftentimes, people who go to conferences don't have the bandwidth to contact them right away when they get back. However, you're not going, it's a perfect time to reach out to those apps because they are absolutely positively ready to hear from new people who have a lot of questions. So even if you're not going to QuickBooks Connect, this is valuable information for you if you are shopping or thinking about shopping for an app. So,
Great. All right. So now I'm curious. Wait, have we had enough time? I want to know how many of our
oh
attendees
yeah, I
Yeah,
do
are
too,
I'm
like,
kind
gonna
of a
leave it
little
up
bit.
for I'm gonna leave it up for like 5 more seconds,
okay.
just
I'm like,
so we
now
get
I'm dying to
everybody
know.
to
I'm like, come
answer.
on.
So
Okay.
Kelly, you are
Yeah.
speaking. Are you yep, I can't wait, or yes, I'm nervous? Or both?
I'm probably both. I'm probably both. And we'll cover some other things that I'm excited about too. So I would say I probably fall into both. All right.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Oh,
So
okay. All right.
80% of you in our audience aren't going to this, but I maintain that this is actually going to be a good tool for you because, like I said, these apps, they're ready to hear from people.
Yeah,
Because
and it doesn't have to be in person. They are happy to set up a demo. They're happy to have conversations with us.
and actually in our work with some apps, we found that oftentimes they're expecting this big flood of people after a conference like this, and they're not prepared for the fact that, yeah, people come back and they're busy and all that stuff. So they kind of are there waiting. So honestly, if you aren't going, it is such a good time to reach out to them,
Yeah.
any of the people who are sponsoring. Okay, so let's get into it. The way that, let me go, well, I can't go back because I don't know how to do it. The way that the app is set up is it just has all the vendors in alphabetical order. And actually, if you look at the QuickBooks Connect website, it has all their vendors in like, how much they sponsored order,
Right. What level of sponsorship they're in.
Right. And it's all their logos. And in order to find out what that app does, you just click on the thing and it will give you a little blurb, right? And that's great. But there are a lot of apps. there are a lot of apps, there's a lot of vendors, there's just a lot of sponsors. And so
Absolutely.
we thought it might be valuable to take those descriptions that are in the app, right, in the QuickBooks Connect app, the conference app, and put them alongside of the vendor name with their logo so that like you can kind of recognize it if you just see it around, but to kind of group them according to what you might be shopping for. Now, these are loose groupings, and certainly some apps, in fact, many apps do more than one thing, but
Right.
this is just kind of loosely like, what are you kind of investigating so that you won't have to go through and click on every single vendor there is? Because let's face it, there's some we recognize, there's some we know what they do, but there's some we may never have heard of before, some that might be new or just newly loud about what they do, newly competitive. And we don't want to miss them if we're trying to investigate a particular aspect of our practice.
Yeah.
So first things first, because it was the easiest one for me to pick out and group, banks and funding. These are the 6 that kind of fall into that category. I will point out that although the top 3 are banks, or actually Mercury is too.
Also a bank, yeah.
Yeah, Main Street is actually interesting because it helps small businesses find tax credits that are available. So that's why I kind of put it under funding. It's not a bank per se, but it is in that space where like, hey, we need more help or we need more funding. Is there anything out there for us, right? And obviously these are tools for both you and your clients.
Right.
Solutions. So
well, I'll say, like you said, a lot of people don't see PayPal as a bank, but I always have to explain to my client that they operate as a bank.
yeah.
Essentially, they are a checking account. And then like Relay does also payables, right? So they have an AP aspect to their software on top of being a bank account. So there's just different ways. I mean, US Bank, I feel like is a little more mainstream. And Go Cardless has been around for a long time. Like I know when I first started processing credit cards, I was using them for some aspect of that. So yeah, I mean, I will say PayPal, I think, has been coming every year. They usually have some cool swag and stuff, but they also especially since they've now even changed management. I know that they've already implemented some new improvements, so they'll probably
Oh,
announce that at the conference.
no idea.
Yeah.
That's why you're the e-commerce queen in my world. I had no idea, and I should have probably known that because it's not like restaurants don't use PayPal. And bars, especially bars, use PayPal. Okay, business development. This is such like a big, like this is kind of the catch-all one, but I feel like these particular apps are either providing not a shortcut, but like assistance in getting started or continuing business as a business, not like the workflows and stuff you do, although there are certainly aspects of all of these things that can feed into and educate in that way. Like, but this is more like, hey, how do I just the business of running a business, right?
Working on it, not in it.
Right. And so my impression is from, I'm going to say it's books keeping and WriteWorks is that those are whole like systems. I think Bookskeeping actually calls itself a franchise, but they're whole systems that you can sort of adopt. So they're like a business in a box, like it's from the start.
Right.
These are tried and true workflow systems, everything that you can sort of affiliate yourself with.
Right.
CorpNet, I did not know this exists, and I actually will be talking to them when I go.
So
They
the
just
rep
help
from
you do all
CorpNet
the
also has a
things.
session. They also have a
Huh?
session that they're doing. So the rep from
Oh.
CorpNet is they're also doing a session, which if you are trying to help your clients, let's say set up an LLC, develop a business, create a corporation, they are very well known for that. And I want to say her name is Nellie. I'm gonna look it up. But
I love this.
she's well known for knowing a lot about the stuff. So let me find their sorry, keep going. But
no, because honestly, like my cuckoo restaurant people are just always trying to get their hands into something else, and they're forever wanting to set up new LLCs, and they're forever asking me how would I do that. And like it's just nice to know there's something out there to be like, hey, I can totally help you with that. Here's these people. You know, some parts of being an advisor isn't about doing it yourself. It's about being the point person who can then direct them to the experts
and admitting what you don't know how to do.
Oh my gosh, so true.
So I know when they first started coming to the conferences, I always remember that they were pushing as another revenue stream. So if it's something where you want to refer to them, I don't know how their product works, or should I say their system works. But I know that, and it is Nellie. So she made an impression. She does know her stuff. She's doing a lunch and learn. So you can always ask some questions from them.
Awesome.
But also their booth, I'm sure they can explain
to
you how to use their service as another revenue stream if you're interested.
I will be going to that because honestly, it's stressful. It's stressful not knowing when your clients trust you. It's stressful not knowing what to say to them. So some of these apps, it might not be for you. It might, in fact, a lot of them might be for your clients, you know, just having something to refer to your clients that works and that you can trust, that you can vet and trust. I also thought Nice Job was interesting because it's like, hey, I need to look better in the public sphere.
Okay.
So, you know, like, oh, we just help people manage their online reputation. You might have clients for whom that is a concern, and they need something to look over that. And this is the kind of stuff my clients will ask me. You know, like this, and I don't know about you,
or even
Kelly,
for your own, but you're thinking Yelp, Google reviews, Trustpilot, stuff like that. And so for that, yes, it's hard to navigate on your own.
It is. And it's so important for like, particularly in my niche, like the retail, like the in-person retail sort of sphere where, you know, people might be making spur of the moment decisions on where to buy something. They're going to look at those reviews. So having a business to do that. Anyway, CPA.com is just a good resource just on business in general. And I'm not sure what Amazon Business is doing.
Oh, I can speak to this a little bit. So Amazon
Business. Of course you can, Ecom.
Amazon Business, and actually this is bigger than e-commerce, right? So Amazon Business is one of the, I'm going to say preferred apps or in product apps for QuickBooks Online. So when your clients
Oh,
have an Amazon Business account, you can connect it to their QuickBooks Online account so that you can
well,
bring
like a
in.
bank?
No. Think of it. No, it's for making purchases. So like I
Oh, okay.
use Amazon Prime, but in a business setting, you would use Amazon Business, right? So they get sometimes there's bulk discounts and discounts on certain products that are more related to running a business. So if your client is using Amazon Business to make purchases, you're able to connect it to QuickBooks Online, and it's a deeper integration so that you can see what they purchased. So it gives you a little bit more information around what your client is doing, so you're not having to constantly ask them for receipts or to log into their, Amazon Prime account or anything like that.
Because the charge comes up as Amazon, and then you're like, which of this is office supplies and which
Yes.
of this is
That is
product?
my assumption that is why they're there. I'm sure they do other things as well, but they do have an integration with QuickBooks Online that is
also
than
very good to know.
some others.
Because again, the crazy purchases.
Oh, everyone
on the credit cards
for the most part. I mean, every one of my clients shops on Amazon, so yeah.
Yeah. I'm a niche fan in general. So this is just 6 that are sort of like little standalone niche stuff. Lightspeed is a POS, Margin Edge is for restaurants, and less so bars, but still bars. Figured is for agribusiness, which I find fascinating.
No,
I'm
that's
gonna
so
be
cool.
visiting them. Bloomerang is nonprofits. Stratafolio is for real estate, as is Released. So I don't know all the ins and outs of what they do, but if you have clients in any of these, well, I do know about Margin Edge, but if you have clients in any of these niches, it's worth just going and having a look-see, even if you don't need it, just knowing that you have kind of just more insight into what might be helpful for clients.
So the other good thing, and usually I don't put them on the spot for technical information. I'm not like, here's my laptop, help me set it up. But you can ask, some general questions about what the app does. So if you're in that space, and let's say you're either, starting to move towards a niche app of some sort, or maybe one of your clients has come on with one, you can go and ask some questions without feeling silly about it, right? So that's what they're there for. If you're considering niching in something in general, right? So you're not sure, but maybe you're moving towards something. So like I chose e-commerce a couple of years ago, you chose restaurants, right? So like if you're considering, this is also a good way to kind of take a look and see if maybe it's not for you, maybe it is for you. But getting to know some of the technology around it, because you're probably going to at some point rely on some of these tools.
Exactly. And speaking of e-commerce, here's some more niche tools. Service M8, service trade contractors, Ignition, and Ignition is professional services. Manufacturing, MySys, Big Time is also professional services. Dext is, I guess, e-commerce.
I would say Dext is more for us than for
larger than that. It's like, it's for us. But if we are dealing with Dext was kind of a weird, I didn't know where to put Dext.
So Dext is, Dext, formerly Receipt Bank, formerly Greenback. It's a suite of tools. Yeah. So they're doing stuff like receipt capture, but also document capture, right? Your clients can send stuff in.
They're also pulling now from like,
I was going to say with Dext Commerce, they're also able to pull receipts and other things, invoices and stuff like that. They help with stuff like AP, because your client can upload, let's say, invoices that they have to pay, bills to go into QuickBooks, and then, help your process along the way. But I would say Dext is a tool more for us. I'm sure there's some small business out there using them on their own, but I would say they're definitely geared towards accountants to help make our processes better.
Yes. So probably shouldn't have put it there. I did not know a lot about it. And to be frank with you, like there were a lot of apps and I was like, and their description was like, I don't know. And so
that's why we're here.
Heads up, Dext, like maybe a little bit more. But then I went to their website and I was like, oh, I see, this is all the things. I don't know what needs to happen here. But it's on my list because I was like, what is this? Because the last time I looked at it, Dext was different. It was a different thing. They've like become this whole other thing. And so they're actually on my list of apps to cruise by and be like, what's the deal with you guys
Yeah.
now? Speaking of having hands in all the things,
Oh, polling.
let's hit this poll and then we're going to get into the big niches.
While that's happening, there is a question in the Q&A that I think you
Sure.
would be able to answer a little better than me. I mean, I say Lightspeed, but specifically for, I'm assuming pub meaning public house, like restaurant.
Yeah. Do you mean pub? I'm assuming you mean pub as well and not publishing.
Right.
You said Lightspeed, but do you have a couple of others for me to research? Actually, if you will put Angie your email address in the question and answer for me, I'll be happy to reach out to you. There are a lot of different POSs, and I'll be able to refer you not only to a place where you can see a lot those all combined together and kind of get a sense, but also to a Facebook group where we consistently talk about restaurants and bars.
Angie, if you're not comfortable posting your information, you can find Kristen on LinkedIn and Facebook.
Oh yeah, duh.
Yeah, I was like, now that I'm thinking about it, because everyone can see the answer. But if you want to reach out to Kristen, she also has a Facebook group for restaurants.
Yeah, it's restaurant accounting. I forget what it's called now because I
put you on the spot. That's totally
because fine. You put me on the spot. Yeah. Restaurant Accounting Network.
Yeah.
On Facebook. But Angie, if you want to reach out to me on LinkedIn or on Twitter, I'm at Hey Friday Guide, and on LinkedIn it's Kristen Iseraldo or the Friday Guide. You can find me either way. I will send you a link and invite to join that Facebook group because we talk about that stuff all the time. But yes, there are a lot of
okay, so sorry, because we talked over the poll, but what type of app solutions would benefit your practice the most these days? So workflow and practice management was the top one, totally understandable. AR, AP, and expense spending got 16%, niche tools, 21%, inventory and data transformation, I love that term, 9%. And reporting and tax 16%. Okay. All right. So we got.
Do you like that term? Does that work for you, that term? Because I just kind of made
I love it. I like that rather than just saying something like reporting. Like data transformation to me is taking something and making it look different, but getting what the client needs, right? So presenting.
Well, you'll see what's under data transformation. It's not just that. I had to find a interesting way to put a whole bunch of things together that maybe together. So yes, we have niche or niche apps, but then also there's this niche that's becoming so ubiquitous that it's just like everywhere and everyone uses it.
I have to laugh a little bit about this.
Niche.
Yeah, I was gonna say I laugh about this a little bit because maybe 3 or 4 years ago I asked like someone at Intuit, like, oh, why isn't there like an e-commerce specialty or something on like the ProAdvisor profiles or something? And they were like, well, right? Hello. We now have like a
lousy with e-commerce.
Yeah, we have a whole suite of apps that will be attending this show. I am so excited.
Yes. So you know what, y'all? If you have a thing that you are trying to figure out, like, what's the best solution for my clients, and maybe it'll be more than one or whatever, this is a perfect time to just, here's your little cheat sheet. Here's their descriptions. Go, you have a couple of questions, a couple of needs that you need for like your e-commerce clients. First of all, hit Kelly up because she knows all the things, but also if you just want to drive by all these guys and be like, hey, here's my 3 questions. Do you do this, this, and this? Yes, no, I'm moving on to the next one. Just even to get those quick answers without having to do a demo.
I would say this is one of those things where we said like, know how you work, know what you need. So because you have multiple options, and this isn't the only category where you're going to have multiple options, but it could very easily be the decision between how the data is synced to QuickBooks, what system they integrate with, do they have your integration,
customize,
how much you can customize it, what can you do?
Mine.
So have a list of questions that, or maybe even I would say elimination points, right? So like, I absolutely need this thing. Do you guys do it? No. Okay. and then go find the next one, right? And not to say that they won't do it in the future, they won't change, but if you need something now and that's what your client is asking for, or you need to do something, whatever the case is, definitely have that list ready. And this, like I said, applies to any category, but in this case, I can speak to how different some of these are. And so knowing what I need to get my, data synced over, what I need for my reports to look the right way, what I need for my client to understand their information, all of that good stuff. I know, which one I need essentially.
And
But shopping around is how I figured it out.
exactly. And it goes for this, but it goes for any of our categories, right? And it even goes for you if you're not going to be on the conference floor. Might it be easier to have like they're all standing next to or near in close proximity, at least relatively to each other? You can go ask them all the same questions at once and get your answer. But that doesn't mean that you can't do something similar virtually if you're not going to QuickBooks Connect. In other words, like reach out, cut to the chase, ask the 3 questions of your salesperson or whoever you reach. If they want to do a demo and like not answer those like sort of qualifying questions for you first, I always like to say the nice thing, which is like, I don't want to waste your time if it's not a fit. These are my sort of deal breakers, right? These are table stakes for me to use a Vegas term. These are table stakes for me to use your app. So this is a perfect example of there are a lot of very closely related apps that are there for the picking, whether you're going to be in Vegas or not. Here's your cheat sheet. Go comparison shop. And you know what? For the ones that don't win, they'll hear the question you're asking. And if enough people ask that question, they'll think about like, maybe this should be on our list. That's asking questions is a form of feedback.
Yes, it absolutely is. And you're right. It's more like supply and demand. If a bunch of people are asking for the same thing, then it starts to become a thing that they want to strive for or move towards.
Exactly. We gotta hurry because
okay. Go ahead.
Sorry. Holy business. HR and benefits. Here's a lot of stuff for you, for your employees, for your clients' employees, for your clients' firm. These are all different. There's not a lot of competition here, but I find that conferences or just when they're open to hearing is a good time to check in with myself. Like, wait a minute, should I be doing something like this? It's that thing of like, I didn't know I needed that until I saw it.
Right.
So there's your little cheat sheet there. Oh, I should say too, these little descriptions here, those are just the thing that you would see. Some had to be edited for space. Those are the things you would see if you would press on the little thing in the app.
So when you go to a vendor, you can kind of unfold the information.
Exactly. Like e-commerce, this vendor floor is lousy with inventory solutions. They have all the different kinds of solutions. And look, these might not all be direct competitors in the sense that some of them are going to specialize in some kind of functionality over others. So their descriptions kind of speak to that.
More inventory.
Do what you need. It's like there's a lot. Let's do another poll. Okay. Just because I have it here. I don't know if we need to or what.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Do you give feedback to the apps that you use to help them serve you better? I'm going to say yes, absolutely. Every chance I get. I am happy to click on the feedback button inside of QuickBooks. I am happy to reach out when something is broken or I am not happy about something in the nicest way possible, but I'm always happy to speak up.
Yeah. And I'm actually really curious to see the results of this one.
Same. I think for a lot of people, I used to do the same thing because I was like, little me, like, why would I, even mention it? It's how their app functions. Like, that's just is what it is. And then sometimes I would just stop using something because it didn't work correctly according to what I needed. But I learned that reaching out, even just to a couple, that they were happy to hear from me. They wanted my feedback. They wanted to know. So
yeah,
right on that.
Exactly. Okay, can we see the result?
Yes.
Awesome.
All right. That is good. At least 60% of you are giving feedback. in some
And for
way, shape, or form.
for those of you who know, but I'd like to be able to, I hope some of the things that we've said or are going to say will make you realize that some of the things that you can do just from the privacy of your own email
Right.
can lead to invitations or even just constitute feedback that you might not even realize you're giving. Because you know what? Questions is voting on
Yep.
what you need. So let's continue. AR, AP, and expense management. Expense management in the sense that sometimes it's not accounts receivable, it's not accounts payable, it's something already happened, it's immediate, there's no bill to be paid later, but you know, there's expenses to be met. You guys know, you're accountants. I don't even know why I'm explaining. I need to get out of client mode. Um, so there are again quite a few of
Lots of
these.
them.
There's 12 at least, and a lot of the other solutions also have this kind of element inside them as well,
So for
like
this, a
Kelly
lot
pointed
of
out.
the differentiating, I think, comes from, at least for me, when I'm looking at these things, is the how it integrates with QuickBooks part.
Mhm.
Right. So sometimes it's a matter of what information is going in. I know Megan Tarno is not on this call, but she always used to ask, does the bill come over? Will it sync? Like, will the actual document sync into QuickBooks so that I have it saved and attached and I don't have to go looking for it? So like
That's
stuff
right.
like that, which obviously has improved over the years, but sometimes that's the differentiator, right? Like that little bit is what's going to make the huge difference for you, your clients, your staff, whatever that looks like. And so because you have so many options, there's really no harm in shopping around until you find what
Absolutely.
works. The
And
other
you know
thing
what?
is
Even
too, ask people that are there. So ask
yes,
the other
yes.
accountants in
Oh my
attendance.
gosh, yes. All the yes. And actually, you may not have a particular deal breaker or table stakes in mind, but then you may do a little mini like encounter session with one of these guys and realize they can do something that you didn't even think was possible. And now all of a sudden you're going to the other people and being like, hey, can you do that too?
Yep.
Like, because that is amazing. And is this
And
a
now I
thing
want
or
it.
is just their thing, you know?
Yep.
Um, tax and security. This is more for us, although Avalera,
Yeah. I mean, they're
Avalera,
major.
God bless them. They're keeping their finger on the pulse of all things tax. But
Bravo should be in there too.
well, Avalera is Davo, but yes.
No, I know they own a bunch at this point, but yeah, sorry. I'm a big fan.
Yes, Davo is also fantastic. Like they pay your sales tax for you for like they just take it
It's
out of your
amazing.
bank account. It's amazing. Yeah, so a lot of these might be solutions you're already using, or maybe you've never heard of it before, but especially given the stuff that's coming up with 4557 requirements for data security, etc., these are good things to look at. Even if it's just a gut check on maybe an app you need, even if it's not this particular app or that particular app,
Right.
it'll give you a sense of, oh yeah, I guess I should probably have something like this. Reporting, this is my little like pet project. Like I'm
Yeah.
a reporting girl. So here's the people that are going to be there. It is fantastic to have them all in one place or just to look at a bunch of different reporting apps together, even if you're doing it from your home or office. And this is a case where seeing someone actually go through and run the report and click on things and being able to ask questions in the moment. I mean, I'm not a demo hog, like I don't enjoy demos, but when it comes to reporting, I want the demo and or better yet, the free trial with fake data. I'm all about it. So go visit these guys because reporting matters. It can make your life so much easier. Data transformation. Here's
Yeah.
what I mean by that.
Go
These are
ahead.
people who take data and you can make it something else. So it's grabbing data from bills like Scan Snap and Easy Bills. Account Tarot is like, I think they just get data into QuickBooks. I'm not quite sure
Right.
what
So
that
the other
is.
thing about this is that when you read some of these descriptions on how they essentially describe themselves. It doesn't always make sense. And
Right.
then you go and meet them and you're like, oh, you do that? Cool. Like, why didn't you just say so?
Yeah, exactly. Please, if you only have one sentence, like sell it.
Yes. And then also
Don't keep
feel
me in
free to tell them
suspense.
that their description is not easy to understand.
Yes. Also, the CRM peeps are in here, right? So Insightly
Yes.
and Method. You can make things besides CRM with Method, but Method is also a CRM. Okay, we've literally got 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Right,
Do we need another call?
I believe we do, because someone was saying that their pop-up didn't work earlier. So if we have
Okay,
one,
we
we
have
can
one
launch it.
more at the end. So
Okay.
practice management, again, so great to see everything together.
Yes, this one's a big one for you guys.
And there's actually 2 pages. Wait, is there 2 pages?
No, I think it just was the correct. Oh, there you go.
Oh,
No.
shoot. And then workflow tools.
Okay, so people have been asking, just to make it clear, we are going to share the slides. So you will get the slides in an email after.
All the slides.
So while we're going through them, and now we're kind of rushing because we're coming to the end, but you will absolutely get the slides.
Here's the things to remember. The first thing, identify your key features, whether they are big, as in I need this for my practice in general, or small, I need this for this particular solution. What are the aspects that need to be kept in place for your practice? Second, who needs access to the data or the tool or the functionality? And does the app have, or the solution have, the ability to customize that? And the third thing that people often forget is automating this worth the time I'm going to spend? In other words, if the upkeep, oversight, etc., takes more time and energy and stress and reconciliation then you're actually saving, it might not be worth automating at this time or with a particular solution, even if it's the greatest solution in the world.
Right. Timing is pretty major.
Exactly. So now we can do the last one.
Okay, so Brian had asked, and I closed the question too quickly, so I'm just going to say he had asked about 1099s and some other tax reporting. I would say definitely take a look. Avalara is probably going to be your best bet for where to first start, because they have integrations across QBO, QBDT, all of them. So I would say start there, and then if you're looking for something a little more niche, kind of venture out into the other apps that were mentioned. Like we said, you're going to get a copy of these slides. So you can go back and take a look at the ones that we have listed, but I would definitely start with Avalara because they're pretty major.
Can I also say that the virtual app floor is a thing called apps.com, and going on to apps.com and typing in
1099
a search term will give you like a kind of virtual but filtered sort of way to see, hey, what's out there, what's comparable, each with a description. Very
and they've improved their
user-friendly.
search feature.
Love
so a lot
apps.com.
more comes up. Another thing that I just want to make sure we fit in was I had said that I would give you guys some kind of outside tips here. So I'm going to post a link to, I don't know if everyone knows Will Lopez from Gusto. He had done kind of a video summing up all of the social stuff. So not necessarily related to the actual conference, but surrounding the conference, if you will, parties and stuff like that. So I'm sharing that with everyone in the chat. Anyone that is flying into the Las Vegas airport, two of the vendors, so Forwardly and File, FYLE, are doing a shuttle to get everyone to the hotel, or the different hotels. They're going to the Aria, the Cosmo, and something else. So I'm going to also post that link here for anyone else that's attending the conference. And then Jean, who I did see was on the call, actually had a really good recommendation. So I'm going to share that one. She had said that if you go onto the QuickBooks Connect website and you build your agenda, you can then download your agenda to your actual calendar app. So if you want to add that to your calendar, like I use Google Calendar or your iCloud calendar, whatever that looks like, you can sync it over. So it is static. If you make changes to your schedule, it won't update, but you do have the ability to then put it on your calendar. And so you're not looking, what time things start. You can get your reminders, all of that just from your actual calendar app, which I thought was pretty cool.
That is a very good hack, because time zones are real, and sometimes time zones mess people up. And
Absolutely. I still struggle, even though I should be
I
better.
do too.
So
Although working
always
with
doing
you
the
has
math.
made me a little bit better about it.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
I
So being on
ran
opposite
through all the
coasts.
rest of the things, but they were just fun things. There was a quote there from Murph in one of the articles he said that said, "Hey, if you're at QuickBooks Connect, the best place to sit in anything is to sit near him so you can hear all his comments," which is
There you
totally
go.
true. And
That's
for
true.
those of you who are headed to QuickBooks Connect, we will see you, as Murph said, trying to cram 3 weeks of fun into 3 days of conference.
Yes.
And for those of you not going, we hope that this session has still been valuable. I personally think it has. Even doing that list, I was like, oh, I'm kind of excited to talk to some of these people. And even if I don't have time, I'm going to look them up afterwards. So I hope
And
it was
as I
valuable.
always say, and I guess it applies even more now, if you see us, say hi. And
Say
I
yes.
send
If
that
you
to
see
Gary
something,
from
say
Insightful Accountant,
something.
Murph, us, and also, I mean, really say hi to a bunch of strangers, but you can always say hi, stop us if you have a question, if there's something I might be able to share with you in person. Yeah, feel free, come up, let's take a selfie, because that's my thing.
Yeah. And you will get the slide deck in an email. Is that correct?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes, they will. Yeah, okay. Right before we close it out, I just want to put out the poll for the CPE just so we can get that out there. Yeah, has it gone out? Yes. Okay. Just so you guys are able to kind of let us know really if you want the CPE. And while we're going through this poll, I actually want to let if we have any veterans in our audience today, we're actually doing a thing over on Insightful Accountant to honor our veterans, and we want you guys to answer a quick form just so you know it's out there.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
So we want to honor
Awesome.
our veterans.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
You know.
Veterans Day. Is that Saturday? Saturday?
Yes. I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry, my
Yeah,
time
the
zones
11th.
are off too. So right
This
now
girl,
my
it's
head just
3 in the morning where she
yes,
is.
it's
It's
3 in the morning.
She's
It's
doing the
actually
work, y'all.
it's going on 4 in the morning. I'm two minutes away from 4 in the morning. So I'll be
Ooh.
saying
So
hi to Mr. Sun in a bit.
let us know. So how is Thursday? Is it going good so far? Like,
It's
can you give us
okay.
any
I'm gonna
insights as
be
to what to expect from
I
Thursday?
I am gonna be asleep for most of that day. I'll
Totally
be up
fair.
at
That's
night.
fair. That's
Yeah.
fair.
Oh yeah, just to add a little bit, I'll also be putting up a poll for Future Forward. That's on December 5 to 6, and we'll be having 9 speakers and 11 categories for you to catch to transform your business.
Awesome.
Okay. So I'll
Awesome.
put that
That
up
will be
there right
amazing.
before we're gonna cut it really close.
Ooh, yes. 1 minute left. But
Yep.
thank you all for joining us,
Thank
and
you
thank you
so
for
much,
Yes,
staying
this
guys.
is
on.
amazing.
Yes. We're excited. Hopefully we'll see you guys in person. Definitely say hi.
Say
Yeah.
hi.
I hope I'll see you in person.
Yeah.
That'd be funny, wouldn't it?
You never know.
Okay. I might fly out. I don't know.
There you go. You never know.
You never know.
Okay. All right, perfect. All right. Thank you everyone for answering all those polls. That was
Thank
fabulous.
you.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us today, everyone, and thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Kristen, for sharing that enormous amount of knowledge with all of us. Thank
It's a
you so
lot.
much, and have fun, everybody. I hope you guys see each other.
Yes. Say
All
hi.
right. Bye.
Bye.